Robert Woods just got traded to the Titans.
I knew it happened during the segment, and I was gonna. We have to talk about that. That's a huge move. That's a big time move.
He just got traded.
I'm not gonna lie, I am upset.
Why?
I have Robert Woods in my dynasty league. I did not want to see him go there. I did not want to see him go there. What about to the Jets? I would have loved that.
So Riv spoiled it. So breaking news: Robert Woods.
What do you mean Riv spoiled? They was already talking about. I got it.
They
from
might
the
already know.
I got it from the Discord, bro.
By the time this happens, everybody's gonna know. So, breaking news: Robert Woods has just been traded to the Tennessee Titans, and they gave up a 2023 6th-round pick for Robert Woods.
Good deal.
In my opinion, I think Tennessee hasn't been having the greatest offseason because they didn't make splashy moves, at least in the first 2 days. But then Tennessee went out and they signed Austin Hooper on a 1-year deal, which is huge. I think Austin Hooper can fill that Jonnu Smith role. He played in an offense in Cleveland where it was run-centric, and he had to block a lot. So I think he's a perfect scheme fit in Tennessee, and he's somebody that has high upside as a receiver now that he's paired up with a quarterback that is not Baker Mayfield. I think Tannehill is better than Baker Mayfield.
Agreed.
And now you get Robert Woods. I think Julio Jones was a great big-time name. I think Robert Woods is a better scheme fit. With the Rams, we've seen him, at least Sean McVay has used him as a tight end. He was that blocking wide receiver for them. He would open up lanes for running backs. And now you go to Tennessee where they're a run-centric offense. They're going to run through Derrick Henry. You now have Robert Woods, who's arguably the best blocker at the receiver position in the NFL. He's a perfect scheme fit. He's a route technician. He has great hands. This is a great big-time move for the Titans that now has an offense that features A.J. Brown, Robert Woods, Austin Hooper, Derrick Henry. I have my concerns about the offensive line. It wasn't the best in pass pro last season. They lost Roger Saffold. Saffold was a big reason why they weren't good in pass pro because Saffold was god-awful in pass pro. But their offensive line still has some holes. They need to get better. But this is a perfect scheme fit for them. I think this is exactly what they needed in their offense.
I do like this move for Tennessee. They needed a wide receiver, too, pretty desperately to pair up with A.J. Brown to get him a little bit more open space. This was a great addition. Again, like you mentioned, he's one of the better pass blocking, run blocking wide receiver options there is, especially on a screen. When to Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods was always in front of him, setting the screen right in front of him. He is one of the better blockers at the wide receiver position. I think this definitely is what Tennessee needed. They needed a little bit more versatility on the offensive side of the ball as well. Coming off a torn ACL, that's always going to be a concern for any player coming off an injury as gruesome as that. But I think for what Robert Woods can bring to the Titans, I think he fits perfectly. You have A.J. Brown, who is really a Swiss Army knife, can do anything for you on a football field in terms of the wide receiver position. You have Derrick Henry, who's one of the best, if not the best running back. In my opinion, he is the best running back in the league, especially at running through the tackles, running through players. You're going to have Robert Woods on the outside setting the block for you on those corners, just going to open up more holes for you. And you just can't forget that Robert Woods is still one of the better wide receivers in the league, especially at the wide receiver 2 position. He might be one top 5 wide receiver 2s when he was healthy. He is that great of a talent. I think that you bring him now to help Tannehill open up the field a little bit more. It's exciting.
For me, I think this is a good move because I think like Julio Jones last year, like you said, big name. Everybody loved it. A.J. Brown, he was all excited. You know, his idol was playing with him and everything. It just didn't work out. Julio was banged up, and then when he played, it just wasn't right. You know, I think Robert Woods at this point in time, you can arguably make the case that he might be better than Julio Jones. He's really good. He's somebody who's coming in. He's going to definitely help, and then A.J. Brown could finally, I think, take that because I don't think he's fully taken that step yet into elite status yet, and I think he has that ability. So I think this could be the year that he finally embraces that full number 1 role, becomes that elite receiver. But you mentioned it. Those two there. Now you still got Derrick Henry. The offensive line still needs help, but so far so good. Like you said, after having a bad couple of days, they've made some solid moves.
I mean, if Titans fans are looking at this move from a bird's eye view, scratch the 2021 season. Look back at 2021. The offense was amazing. You had Jonnu Smith, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Derrick Henry, of course. I don't even have to really mention Derrick Henry, but just the weapons wise. Robert Woods is better than Corey Davis.
Oh, for sure.
He's better than Corey Davis. Austin Hooper is just as good as Jonnu Smith. If you ask me what I'd rather have A.J. Brown, Robert Woods, Hooper, or Corey Davis, A.J. Brown, and Jonnu, I'm going with this variation of talent.
I'm with you, for sure.
So this is why I think it's a great move. And a 6th-round pick, that's nothing.
It
For
isn't.
a guy who can play at a Pro Bowl level, he had a 107.9 passer rating when targeted. And Ryan Tannehill last year, despite having a statistically down season, was not a bad quarterback. You can argue that he really went through the most turmoil offensively than any quarterback in the NFL. A.J. Brown being in and out of the lineup. Same thing with Julio. Derrick Henry goes out. Deontay Foreman has to now be the lead back. He had no option at tight end. The pass pro was awful, and he still made it work, and he still was a competent quarterback. So hopefully with this move, he can get back to playing at his 2020, 2019 level, and the Titans can make a run. I think this now puts them in position to win the division.
This move specifically.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
I think it does.
All right.
I think it does.
Okay.
I mean, the division pretty much stinks.
If the Colts can get a quarterback, a competent one,
PPG.
and then they can get a wide receiver, a legit one, I probably would put the Colts over the Titans, but I think this move as of now probably cements them over
you don't like
to be the favorite
You
again.
don't like Pittman Jr.?
They need another
They
weapon.
need another one.
Okay.
Their last season, their number 2 had under 400 yards. That's horrible.
I like Pittman.
I'm going with the Titans. When we spoke about it, when we did our AFC South
Preview.
Yes, correct. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm just drawing the ill blank. Yes, when we did that preview, I had the Titans being my top team. Jaguars are intriguing. We spoke about that. They are intriguing, but I still have my reservations about that. We have to see how Trevor Lawrence comes out in year 2. That assessment can be done very fast depending on how he starts the season, but you cannot doubt what the Titans have done, especially off last season where week in, week out, we were questioning what they were doing, and they ended up being the top seed in the AFC. A disappointing end to their season, and unfortunately that was because Tannehill wasn't at his best. Ultimately, I think that you still have to give them that courtesy and that respect of them being the top team in that division.
I was high on the Jags, then I became low on them because I think their linebackers are awful.
Losing Miles Jack was bad.
Yeah, and I think that the defensive line isn't very good. If they draft Aiden Hutchinson, I probably may change my mind. But then again, I'm banking on a rookie to change an entire defensive line.
Well, Josh Allen and Aiden Hutchinson is exciting.
Yeah, Josh Allen, Hutchinson, Fadakazi, like that's good.
Yeah.
But their linebackers are bad. Their safeties aren't good either.
Yep.
So there's like holes there that I'm kind of
Got good
a little
corners
bit,
if they want to play man to man,
weary
but
on.
that's definitely going to benefit the safeties to a degree. But